Welcome to Crime Stoppers, presented by Main Street Bank, a production of WTRF7, Love OV, and Crime Stoppers Upper Ohio Valley, an organization tasked with finding new information on unsolved crimes. This week, we're taking a look at an unsolved double homicide that occurred in 1978 in Harrison County, Ohio. The victims were 74-year-old Frank Mahalko and his wife Irene, age 70 at the time of death. Frank and Irene were well known in the community as the owners and operators of the Melody Inn Tavern, a small bar located down the road from the now defunct Y&O Coal Company mine. The Mahalkos lived in a small apartment connected to the bar. Now, a little bit of backstory here. During the height of coal production in the Ohio Valley, it was incredibly common for nearby bars to become a hotspot for coal miners, and Frank and Irene were known to cash paychecks for local coal miners on payday. Now, on the evening of September 21st, 1978, Irene Mahalko spoke to her daughter on the phone. She was running the bar that evening as her husband Frank was sick in bed. She told her daughter that she had planned to close the bar around 2:30 a.m., retire to the connected apartment, and start work on an Afghan that she was knitting for her niece. This particular day also happened to be check cashing day, and it's estimated that the bar had around $8,000 of extra cash in-house for that reason. The following morning, two friends stopped by the Mahalkos on their way to the grocery store to see if Irene needed anything. They found that the back door had been kicked in and the apartment was trashed. Making their way through the apartment, they found the bodies of Frank and Irene Mahalko, both with gunshot wounds to the head, Frank in his bed and Irene on the couch. A call was placed to the Harrison County Sheriff's Office at 11:19, and Sheriff Renzi, the sheriff at the time, arrived 10 minutes later. It was discovered that, in addition to the murders of Frank and Irene Mahalko, the $8,000 cash was also missing, along with a number of checks from the Y&O coal mine, leading investigators to believe that robbery was the motive. The Harrison County Sheriff's Office has been actively investigating this case for more than 40 years now, but keep in mind, this was 1978. A lot of the evidence, forensic details, technology that we have now that we talk about often on this show simply didn't exist. And evidence that may be considered useful in today's world may not have been considered useful in 1978. On next week's episode of Crime Stoppers, we'll talk about the state of the active investigation by the Harrison County Sheriff's Office and a person of interest whose name keeps popping up more than 40 years later. Crime Stoppers is presented by Main Street Bank, a production of WTRF7, Love OV, and Crime Stoppers Upper Ohio Valley. If you know anything about the murders of Frank and Irene Mahalko back in 1978 in Harrison County, please call the Crime Stoppers tip line at 1-877-TIPS-FOR-US. That's 877-TIPS, the number 4, US. It's been more than 40 years, which makes a case like this even more difficult to close. So any new information might be helpful. If you've heard anything, even a rumor, about what happened that night in Harrison County, please call the tip line.